Hey guys, welcome back to the Design the Life You Love with Lynn's podcast. I'm so happy you're here. This is the podcast where we talk about intentionally living your life, following your intuition, your whisper, your guidance, and living a life that truly lights you up. I'm so happy you are here. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Let's dive in. Good morning, my loves. Today on the podcast, we have Ani Anderson from the book Manifestation for Dummies. When I first saw that, I'm like, oh my gosh, is this the first of its kind? Because there's all the dummy books, right?
I
And I guess
know.
I never even thought about that. So
Can you believe they haven't written one yet? It's crazy.
that's amazing. I love
I
it.
know. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's shocking and also not. And I'm glad you're the first.
Well, thank you for that. I mean, I was shocked when I got the idea of I wanted to write a manifestation book that was really simple and practical. And I was reading a book about manifestation that was great, but it was also kind of complicated. And I said to my partner, we could write a simpler, more practical book than this, like Manifestation for Dummies. And then I thought, wait a minute, Manifestation for Dummies, like there's got to be one. And I looked it up and there wasn't.
Yeah.
So I had a friend who wrote a dummies book, and I said, "Could you connect me with your editor? We've got a pitch for them." And when I reached out, they said, "We are actively looking for an author for that book."
Ooh, how divine.
I know, so good. Yeah.
So good. Okay, so tell me about how you got to that point. Um, when did you decide to learn about manifesting, or how did you end up?
Yeah, this has never really been the topic of choice necessarily. It was actually kind of funny that it became the book that really kind of brought all of my and our work together. When I say our, I mean my life and business partner, Brian, who, we were joking before we started the recording, I can't get away from, in a good way. Uh, so we started our careers as holistic rehab professionals. I'm an occupational therapist by trade. He's a physical therapist by trade. And many, many years ago, feels like a lifetime ago, we both separately, before we knew each other, decided to leave the Western medical system and start a holistic private pay, private practice, which at that time was pretty unheard of. People thought we were nuts, but it worked. And so in that incarnation of our physical or of our professional lives, we were really helping people with pain, stress, anxiety, those kinds of things. You wouldn't think manifestation would be on the docket, but here's why it makes sense. To really help somebody to overcome in a sustainable way whatever pain they have going on in their lives, it's best, I didn't really know this at the time. I think we kind of happened on it, but it's best to ask them not just about what do you want to fix so that you can get back to what you were doing. And, if it didn't hurt, what would you be doing? But where do you really want to go in life? Because pain is here to teach us something for a reason. And when we look at this like greater arc of what do you really want? Like, where do you really want to go? Where are you not going that you wish you could go? And those are manifestation kinds of things, right?
Yes,
When we really
absolutely.
look at that, then we can not only bring healing to the situation that's happening, but in a profound and sustainable way. So we found that out really early, both of us in our private practices. We we weren't necessarily calling it manifestation, but we were reading all of those books and doing all of those things, and we've been using all of those practices throughout the course of our career. So again, it's not something that I necessarily would have had on the business card 3 years ago, manifestation expert. But when it came to, reading other books in the market and thinking, how could we write a really practical, actionable book that could really help people to transform their lives? And what would that be called? Well, Manifestation Made Simple or something like that was the perfect story.
Yeah, I love it. So, yeah, there's so many ideas of what manifestation is, and I feel like it's getting to be more mainstream. I don't even want to use
Yeah,
that term, but
right.
when I first started talking about it, people were like, okay,
Yeah.
what is she
Woo.
smoking?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And now it's becoming a little bit more mainstream.
Yeah.
Um, so how did your patients talk to me about how you noticed the mind, um, body, spiritual body connection to manifestation? Because that's something
Yeah.
that I struggle with, like talking to family. Uh,
Right.
they tell me like, "Oh, I've got this going on." And I'm like, "Okay, well, the emotional
Right.
um and they're like, "Yeah, well, my doctor said I should just take this, this and this and do this test and then try that and then there's a side effect for that, so I got to take another pill." And I'm like,
Or, um, yeah, I think actually the body becomes like the glue for this conversation to help people have a conversation in a way that helps take the woo woo out and make it less woo. I don't love to use the word woo, but it's, common vernacular.
"Yep.
So when we talk about spiritual stuff, and I can remember back in the day for me learning about more of that spiritual stuff, it felt like a real risk to bring it to clients. And, maybe we could talk about these spiritual kind of things. Like, by the way, what the hell is that? In the coaching industry, we talk about spiritual stuff all the time.
Mhm.
Values, meaning, does that have anything to do with spirit? Yes, of course it does. But I digress. I think it's the body that helps us to have this conversation in a way that can help people to understand it in a more practical way. Because we all want to feel better. Well, period. I was going to say something else, but like, period. We all want to feel better. And we all know we have a body, even if we try to ignore it all the time. And so the spirit plays in and through our physical lives. Those of us who are willing to talk about spirit, like, get that. But I think it's talking about the body that can actually help people feel like it's not such a woo woo topic.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely." So, walk me through the early days. Like, how did you start getting the people to connect the dots? And how did you start talking about manifesting through that?
Yeah. I was working in the Western medical system. I kind of hated it. I would like cry on my lunch hour. And by the way, I only lasted about 5 years. I graduated with my master's degree when I was 20, and I worked in the system for 5 years. And I cried a lot.
Well, you were out of alignment. That makes total sense.
Right?
Yeah.
So I loved the people. I loved the patients. I loved the idea that people could get better. And I was in this system that didn't necessarily want people to get better. Like
Yeah.
when I graduated, I remember being in school and thinking, I love my job because this is before I got into my actual job. Like in school, I loved it because it was very creative and it was very person centric. And then I graduated into a system where the insurance companies dictated what you did with people. And there was like no creativity. It was void of creativity. It was void of individualization. It was void of connection. So I lasted for a very short time. I ended up getting into holistic work, not because I was interested in it, um, just because. I ended up getting into holistic work because I needed to take continuing education credits as a licensed professional. I had to. And there were very few courses I was interested in. My mother, who has long-term Bell's palsy, which is when part of your face is paralyzed,
Yep, I'm familiar.
so she was looking at a holistic strategy to help to see if it would impact her Bell's palsy, and she was telling me about it. And I did a little bit of research and found out that as an occupational therapist, I could take one of those courses and it could count for my continuing education. So it had this holistic slant. And it was really the first holistic thing that I really got into. I think I was really concerned about how I looked as a professional and making sure I looked professional. So somehow it allowed me to bridge the gap to
Yeah.
go and take this thing because they gave me credits. So anyway, it was first day on this 4 day seminar by 11 a.m. And I felt so amazing. I remember calling my partner at the time and my voice had actually changed. Like I had this like really low voice because I was so relaxed and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this stuff is so cool." And at that point, I just wanted to know everything about it. And the instructors were really scientifically focused. It wasn't it wasn't like we were, running around with sage and feathers and crystals. At that point, I couldn't have gotten into that. At that point, I needed it to be scientific and I needed it to be in alignment with therapeutics. And so I started to do that therapy in my day job. And I also, I don't remember how, but I kind of slyly figured out how to code it because as a therapist, you need to be able to code whatever you're doing so that you can get reimbursed.
Oh,
So I
sure.
slyly figured out how to code it. that wasn't the problem. The problem was I was starting to put my hands on people, and that got my colleagues' eyebrows raised. Like, why are you putting your hands on people? Like, what are you doing? People wanted to start knowing what I was doing because it looked like energy work. Well, it
Oh,
was it
sure,
was
like
energy
Reiki.
work. Yeah, exactly. It looked like Reiki. And it was energy work. So I actually ended up getting fired from that job, and nobody ever told me why. However, I made the assumption that I was really making people uncomfortable because I was doing something that, by the way, the patients loved. They loved it. I mean, come on, to have your hands on somebody. And I was working in a more of like a longer term rehabilitation place. So the people were there for a while. Like they needed people to care for
Well, and they
them.
probably saw the difference than
And they
just
did.
people that
They
are
saw the
coming in and out the
difference.
door.
Totally. So if somebody's arm, their shoulder, they had a problem with their shoulder and they couldn't raise their arm, and then I put my hands on them, they could raise their arm more. Well, they wanted more of whatever that was.
Yeah.
But it bothered my colleagues, and I ended up getting fired from the job. And I thought it had something to do with the fact that I was using holistic strategies. What I did was I got another part-time job. I found another part-time job, and because it was part-time, I decided to start also part-time my own private practice. And what I decided to do was this. In my area, there are a lot of like holistic practitioners, like massage therapists, who did kind of what I did. They weren't licensed therapists like I was. They were massage therapists, but they weren't like I had a master's degree. And so they saw a lot of adults, and I looked around at the market and I thought, I'll bet people would really like to have this stuff done with their kids, but not from somebody who's a massage therapist, from somebody who's been to college for 5 years and has actually studied pediatrics. And so I reached out to some local practitioners, massage therapist practitioners who were doing energy work. And I said, "Do you ever have parents ask you if you could work on their kids?" And they said, "Yeah." And I was like, I have education in pediatrics, so I'd be happy to see kids. And they said that would be great. And so they started sending me clients.
Oh,
And that's actually how not only I got into it, but I was able to develop a true confidence around the work because I think had I landed in adults right away, I still would have had this like, I don't know, is this acceptable kind of like
well, and
thing?
adults have all the conditioning that make everything
Exactly.
harder, so kids make it
Right.
easier. You get to see your results faster.
Exactly. So I started working with kids, and the parents could see the results. Some of the parents asked me to work with them. I developed the confidence, I developed a reputation, I developed a practice. I ended up leaving my part-time job, all of that stuff. And after that, I don't think to your point about like how did I get clients on board and how did I make this transition? I didn't really need to do anything after developing my own confidence around it because I had such confidence that the techniques that I used were able to help people through the energy work, which started, to your point about manifestation, it started to translate from hands on to I'm having conversations while my hands are on,
Hmm.
right? To more coaching conversations. And then that eventually transcended into just coaching. I didn't put my hands on people anymore. But I had such confidence in the outcomes that clients would come to me and clients would trust me. And by the way, isn't that like a part of manifestation, right?
Well,
Like
you're
having
letting your
certainty
energy
of the
lead.
result.
Yeah, you're totally
Exactly.
letting your energy lead, and you don't have to put any not any, but you don't have to put forth the effort that you would
Right.
had you not been.
Right. Right. So that's kind of how it all got started, and then eventually developing a reputation. When my partner Brian and I developed our first wellness center in 2011, we live in a very small town. We live in the woods kind of thing, and we very quickly became the people who you'd go to if the doctor didn't know what was wrong with you. And in a small town, it doesn't take a lot for people to talk. And so we had a thriving practice, right off the bat. And um, we had a reputation. And so that eventually led to other professionals asking, how do you do what you do? But I think part of the benefit that we had was we did live in a small town. We were able to develop a reputation really quickly because it just takes a few people you do some good work with and they tell everybody, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
And what a beautiful, I mean, sometimes people look at growing up in a small town or living in a small town as a negative, but
Yeah.
you used it to
Well,
its advantage.
in that way, it was an advantage. Yeah, because there is this thing about small town and people talk, and they do, and we've had that experience too. But in this way, it really worked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So good. Excuse me one second. I have to shut my door. There's a bunch of
Yeah,
noise outside.
sure.
So sorry. I like to have the windows open and the doors open so I can hear the birds. It's so nice out today. But then my awesome neighbor, he's 84. He's like a teenager. He's riding around on his four-wheeler and he likes
Oh,
to give her and I'm like, "Okay, Bobby. Too loud."
that's hilarious. I
I
love
know.
it. Good for him.
He's like the mascot for everything that I teach. Like every time I call him, beautiful day. Like it could be snowing, we could be completely snowed in or flooded in.
Yeah,
Beautiful day. It's like, oh, you're such good energy and
that's awesome. I love it.
yeah, he's a good mascot. So, one of the things that I saw on your Instagram was your body has your back. And you talked about the body's role in manifesting. So
Yeah,
tell me what that means to you and where you
yeah.
come up with that.
Our bodies are always trying to help us manifest our greatest life. The part of the thing that gets complicated is our body is also our subconscious mind, and our subconscious mind is, racked with conditioning. Of course, it needs to be like that so that we can be efficient humans who walk around and aren't paying attention to every single thing and trying to figure out how to do every single new thing. Like, we need to have patterns so that we can function as humans. And our bodies run our subconscious mind, but our bodies also know the greatest possible potential for us, and they're trying to point us towards it. It's one of the reasons why we get pain. It's one
Mm,
of the reasons why we get stress, anxiety, feelings, emotions. The body is trying to help us all the time. One of the things that we talk about is like the body's always trying to give you information, but you need to be able to have enough information about what's going on in your subconscious programming to understand the difference between the body giving you information about what to go for and your subconscious, your conditioning. Because so many people, because they haven't really done the self excavation, they can't tell the difference between their patterns of behavior and their authenticity, you
yeah.
know? And so they get confused around that. And in that way, people think, well, my body doesn't have my back. But when you do enough of the self excavation work, you can see your body is really trying to help you all the time, even if it's trying to help point towards the conditioning that if you unravel, you'll be able to manifest the life that you want better.
100%. Yeah. What we think the problem is actually part of the solution.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mhm. It's like the clue leading us down the path. Like, hey, look at this part. Did you forget about this? And
Yeah.
come back another year later and oh, you forgot this part. So here we're going to go through this again. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely lived through and currently still working on some of that myself.
It's a challenge, right? Like, it doesn't feel good. It's frustrating. And that's part of the deal with helping to make the subconscious or unconscious conscious. Like, it's gotta like hit us over the head a few times before we're like, what? What is that? Before we pay attention. And when we do that, we use our conscious mind to see what this thing is we keep bumping into. If we allow ourselves to grow through it, we can learn something and off we go. Yeah, it can be so challenging. I mean, for me too. I've been through times in my life where I just am like, can I please get over myself or whatever? And I just, you just have to bump into something 30 times before you can figure it out sometimes.
All right. I love what you said about growing through. Like we don't let things just happen to us. We're gonna either grow through them and learn and evolve.
Yeah. 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 I think it's such a waste to go through a challenge and not really look at how we can use everything
Hmm.
as a part of our experience of growth. I mean, life's going to keep moving.
Hmm.
If we don't really look at what's going on and learn our lessons and how we can be better people from it, we've just left something on the table. I don't know. I, I hate waste. Like, waste really bothers me, and thinking that I might be wasting my life by not looking at what I could look at. I get kind of dogged about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I don't know if I feel that way, just I've never been that kind of person. I've always
Mm,
like made lemons out of lemonade and I figure things out. Like
yeah.
there's more than one way to skin a cat is kind of one of my anthems.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I see people get stuck. So
Yeah.
knowing that, what how do you help people identify their subconscious patterns that are
Oh,
causing them to get
yeah.
stuck?
Yeah. 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 Just as soon as you said subconscious patterns, I started to giggle because it's like helping people identify their subconscious patterns is a big deal, right? I mean,
Mhm.
do you do some of that in your work as
Yeah.
well?
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's really important. How do you help somebody change if you can't help them get in touch with their subconscious patterns? So one of the things we do at the Somatic Coaching Academy is talk about how subconscious patterns in general have four parts. They have sensations, thoughts, words, and actions. And a lot of times, the people that come to see us, they've tried modifying their behavior to get a new result, hasn't worked. Otherwise, they would be off and running, right?
Mhm.
They've tried changing their language around their life because if I could just change how I'm talking about myself or talking about the situation, it would change. And most of the people who find us have also tried changing their thoughts to change their life, and they still feel like they're missing something. And so when we talk about how there's four parts of a pattern or four parts of a subconscious pattern, it's the sensations for us when people are with us that are the missing piece for the most part. Now, most people, when I talk about that, will go, well, you forgot the emotions. So we categorize the emotions as the thoughts plus the sensations. And
Okay.
one of the reasons why we cause a distinction, we differentiate them into two pieces, is what we've found in our work is that when you work with the sensations, you're working with the raw data of the nervous system. And
I
so
love
when we
that.
talk, yeah, when we talk about the subconscious and how our behavior change works, we are talking a lot about physiology, actually. Like when you think about your subconscious, the subconscious mind is running our liver right now. We're not thinking about it. It is doing all the things that it needs to do to make sure our livers function. It's running our heart. It's running our breathing. It's running like the subconscious is doing a lot to run our general bodily stuff. Where if, for example, our liver stopped functioning or we had a gallbladder attack or something happened with our heart, we'd feel it and then we'd be like, oh my God, I can't do whatever I'm doing right now. I have to attend to whatever this problem is. So the subconscious is always running the show and using sensations as a way to give us information about what's going on in our system. Like I just said, if there was a problem with our gallbladder, we'd feel it. We would have a sensation around that. So when we help people to identify their subconscious patterns, we can do that intellectually. We can also do it from a standpoint of sensations and that raw data of the nervous system. So, for example, if you were coming to me and you had had a divorce and you were having a hard time trying to figure out what you want to do with your life and who you are, I would ask you, well, when you're experiencing that and you feel lost, where do you feel that in your body and what does it feel like? And what I'm asking isn't an emotion. What I'm asking is what are the sensations? And
Like
then is
tightness in the chest or tingling or
exactly,
something like that.
exactly,
Hitting your stomach. Okay.
exactly. Yeah. And then in terms of the subconscious, since the subconscious works on patterns, I want to know, is that a pattern for you?
Mm.
So maybe you're feeling tingly in the chest, and maybe you feel that every day. Maybe you feel that so often you hardly even recognize you feel it so often. Or maybe you only feel it in the morning. Or like, I want to know all that information if I'm working with you and helping you to look at your patterns because we want to see where are their sensory patterns.
Mm.
And so we begin to dissect from there. Now that, when I'm describing it to people, sounds a little like hopeless in terms of the complexity of it. When you're working with a sensation-based coach, of course, they know how to lead you down that process and help you out. If I'm talking to somebody and I'm not working with them and I want to help them to discover their subconscious patterns, really, really easy peasy. Look at your life results.
Mm.
And whatever your life results are what you're programmed to have. I know that can be a hit sometimes, but it's true. And it's not a bad thing, by the way. If we're programmed to
It's just
have,
information.
it's just information. Exactly. If we're programmed to have a dysfunctional relationship with women in our life, or we're programmed to have anxiety when we wake up in the morning or whatever, like looking at the results we have actually does tell us what's going on in our subconscious, because our subconscious is always manifesting whatever our patterns are in our subconscious. It's really that easy.
One common one that comes to mind right away is not enough. Like
Yeah.
that can show up as not enough time, not enough health, not enough money, not enough love, not enough.
Not enough anything, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Do you see it primarily with women or with men or just in general?
I mostly work with women. So,
Yeah.
and I think that's just, women, we've had a lot of stuff in our DNA for a long time.
Long time. Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's generational and
Yeah.
it's going to take a minute, sometimes, not always,
Yeah.
to even identify it, to even acknowledge it, or
Right?
become aware that it's there and it is affecting us at some
Yeah.
level.
Yeah. And to your point, being able to see all the tethers that it has, because someone might think that they just don't have enough time, but when they really stop and look at that pattern and how it manifests in their life and they see, oh my gosh, I
Mhm.
see not enough everywhere.
Right.
Wow. And that's such a gift, isn't it? Like when a client can identify that seed and how it spreads out, then they can really do something with it.
Hmm. Yeah, it's like watching them, turn a light switch on and like illuminating a room. I mean, I have that same pattern that I'm
Yeah.
still working on.
Yeah. It's one of the reasons I love coaching so much.
Hmm.
As a therapeutic professional, you're supposed to be the expert, and I was in the therapy seat for a long time. And when I found coaching and really started to practice it myself, I fell in love. And one of the reasons I did was because of this co-collaborative relationship. And I know not everybody like digs it, but for me, I love learning about myself. I love learning about life, and there is no better way than being a coach and
I
being in
agree.
coaching relationships. It's so awesome.
Yeah, I agree. The most profound shifts that I've had in my life are because of coaching.
Me too.
And I've done everything else.
Yeah.
And and sometimes at the same time, but coaching is just like the thing that really helps you shed and unlock and become aware of
Yeah.
what the hell's going on. Like I did therapy for a long time and the stuff that I uncovered in just a short amount of time in coaching was just insane.
Totally. Yeah,
So different.
it's amazing. It's life-giving.
Mhm.
People used to say to me when I was a therapist, like, don't you get tired at the end of the day? And you know what? I did, because it
Emotionally
takes
draining.
energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't feel like I've never ever felt like that being a coach. At the end of the day, I have more energy because it's life-giving. And I don't miss being, although I'm really glad for my background as a therapeutic professional. It informs things about my coaching practice, and certainly in teaching coaching now, because we certify somatic coaching professionals. It informs a lot, but I don't miss it. Coaching's the best.
Yeah. Yeah. So when did you start coaching?
I had my first coach after I had a very public divorce in 2012, and my life felt like it was in shambles. I lost my identity as a mom because I just prided myself on being there for my kids constantly, and then I wasn't. My identity as a community member was under scrutiny because my divorce was so public. And also had a wellness center. And remember that thing about living in a small town? I live in a small town. That's when it didn't work
There we
out.
go. Yeah. I know how that goes. I'm
Yeah.
divorced also.
Okay. You feel me on this one.
Hmm.
So, I could not get my life back together, and I tried. I was very well connected in the therapeutic and holistic community. I had therapy, I had a shaman, I had Reiki, I had crystals. I did everything, and I just couldn't get my life back together. I ended up going to a coaching event, not to try to get my life back together. It was actually a business event. I was so angry and scared at the time that I wasn't going to be able to support my kids. And I felt like I needed to be able to bring in more income into our wellness center so that I could substantiate, living on my own and things like that. And so I went to this coaching event to learn how to grow my business. And as the universe would have it, they were promoting a program for business development. I actually wasn't all that interested, but I was like, I think I really should do this. And before, like, I don't remember signing up at the event. I remember like contacting them later, and they said, "We're not doing that program anymore. We're doing something else. You should come see." And they were doing another live event. So I went, and when I walked in the door, there were hula hoops and there were feather boas and there were ladies dancing around. And I promptly turned on my heels. I walked back out. I left. And I called my partner and I said, I don't know what the hell they're doing. I don't know what I walked into, but I paid $100 to be here. So I'm going to sit in that seat all day. But I don't know what the hell is going on. And it was like a women's empowerment kind of thing. They had switched their business model. I didn't ask enough questions. Here I am in the middle of this audience. And so they come dancing from the back of the room onto the stage. Yeah, yeah. And people are, yeah, 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 and dancing and all. And then the coaches said from the stage, who's really excited to be here? And people are like, woo! And who came from a really long way? Woo! And then they said, who wishes they could leave right now? And I don't know if anybody else raised their hands, but I was so pleased to raise my hand very, very high that I was very displeased with what was going on in this room. And I raised my hand. I was also half a day later, 3 hours later, the first person to sign up for their coaching program
Wait,
that
say that one more
afternoon.
time.
Yeah, so I was the person who was couldn't wait to get out of there. And when they pitched their program in the afternoon, I was the first one to sign up.
Oh, I love that.
That was my introduction to coaching. It was a year-long program. It was hard and it was delicious. And it was just what we were talking about, why coaching is so amazing. And in that program, one of the coaches said to me halfway, three-quarters of the way through, as I'm trying to find my identity, you're a coach. And I was like, what do you mean? I was a person who had a master's degree and then two or three other like robust certifications on top of that. I was a massage therapist. That took me a year to get that licensed profession. I was a certified energy medicine professional. It took me a year. Like I'm a licensed professional kind of lady. And he goes, you're a coach. And I was like, no, I'm not. I don't have the degree hanging on my wall, that kind of thing. And he
Yeah.
goes, you're a coach. Like you see that you do this kind of thing with your clients already. And he was right. And so what I did was, of course, I went and I Googled and tried to look for certification programs. And then you know what I did? I stopped and I decided to do this without getting certified because it was the biggest stretch.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
so I did it uncertified as a coach for about 7 years. And 4 years ago, I graduated from the IPEC certification program. So I'm a PCC certified ICF coach now. But I'm like so proud of myself. I'm so proud of myself, Lindsay, for going through that experience and not getting certified and allowing myself to like find my own inner wisdom and find my way and see like
Do it
where
messy.
totally be messy around it. And I did not hurt anybody. I was a trauma informed practitioner. Like I just it was great. It was hard. It was great. And so I've had a coach ever since, but that was my introduction to coaching. It was really wild.
Yeah, it's like a drug. I've never been into
Right?
drugs, but I
Me either.
definitely, it's, it's not something you can get out of. I feel like it's like your life totally changes and you're held to a different accountability with a coach.
Yeah. Yeah. Why would you ever want to be walk through life without that level
Mhm.
of companionship and support and positivity and somebody believing in you and knowing you like you can do it. Like it's just the best relationship ever. I remember thinking at some point along my journey having coaches, like I was mad that I had to buy such a wonderful relationship in my life. And then I got to the place where I was like, I don't care. I don't care if I have to buy these relationships. And now I'm to the point where my life is filled with amazing relationships, you know? And
Mhm.
know that a part of that was taking a stand for paying for the relationship of a coach who could teach me how to be a better human so I could be a better human, so I could be somebody who could have better relationships.
Yeah. You, so, how does that saying go? To charge, you get charged. It's a way of like you taking a stand and showing up for yourself and you put down your card and it's like a whole boost of energy and confidence before you even start the program, before you even have
Absolutely.
your first meeting. And that's so hard to
Absolutely.
explain to anybody who's never done it.
If you haven't experienced it, right? Like one of my favorite things is to pay in full. I
Yeah.
love to, do you get it, right?
Yeah.
If you haven't done that, it's so hard to explain to somebody. Like, I'm like a pay in full kind of gal. I just let, like, here's my card. I know what I want. I'm decisive. I'm going to take action. I'm going to be all in.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
so
it's
good.
an action, it's a manifestation action because you're
It
like
is.
the future me, the one that I'm living into would totally pay in full and she would have no qualms about it. And
Exactly.
what's interesting is I actually, my first coaching program, I paid in full. And then later I did a payment plan. I
Uh-huh.
will never do a payment plan again because I don't show up the same way. I have different
I
energy.
know, right?
Yeah, it's still good. It's still totally worth
It's
it.
still
But I
good.
wish I would have paid in full.
Me too. I encourage people like definitely be a pay in full kind of person so you can see what that's like at least once to see what that feels like because the
Yep.
charger on it is so good. I feel like you do. You like get your manifestation up front when you pay in full and then you get to enjoy the ride
Yeah.
and
It's
learn
like a
along the way.
kickstart. Totally. Mm.
Yeah, it's
Um,
good.
so obviously manifesting has completely changed your life. What
Yeah.
would you tell my audience who obviously has heard me talk about manifesting, but maybe we're going to hear some new people? Um, why is manifesting important in designing a life that you love?
Like it's like it's that's how you do it, right? Like it's that's first of all, I'm sure you've told your audience this over and over again, but hey, let's do it one more time. Like design a life that you love because you're going to have to go through life anyway. So make a conscious choice to live a life that matters and that fulfills you. Like make that decision for yourself to design a life on purpose. Manifestation starts to, I think, give you a roadmap for how. I think
Mm,
manifestation starts to give people language. It starts to give people an idea of like a possible framework. That's what I think manifestation can do. But it's not going to happen without a decision, you know? And so if you're wondering if you're worth it, if you're wondering if it's worthy of your time, if you're wondering if you have enough resources to be able to do it, you're going to have to live life anyway. Live on your terms, you know?
yes, 100%. Lost my dad 3 years ago, and that really put it into a different focus. Like,
Mm,
we are not guaranteed five
no.
minutes from now. And my 80-year-old self is not going to give two shits if I
Yeah.
said the wrong thing or goofed up. But if I don't follow my dreams and do the things that
Yes.
I know are for me, I'm going to be mad at
Yes.
myself, right? So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what I've seen way too often is people who have contacted me to work with our company or to get certified with us, and they'll say, I'm not sure if this is the right time. And then I talk to them a year later or two. You've had this experience too. A year later, 2 years later. By the way, whatever is happening in their life is still happening, and it's probably gotten worse. I mean, it just pains me to see how that happens. And you can never tell somebody, you know, you really, everything's choice. Like everybody can choose the path they want to take. For me, I feel like it's not that there won't be challenges, but I've lived enough suffering. I'm going to choose to enjoy my life as much as possible. And by the way, I've had to learn a lot to be able to live into that. It's not that um, living a life that feels good has come easy because I've had to reclaim that. But
same.
I feel like it's the most worthy pursuit.
Hmm.
It is so worth it at the end of the day to realize that you did something to help yourself grow into a life that feels better is a worthy pursuit.
Mm.
Manifestation is just
So
like
good.
it just gives you a roadmap for how. And by the way, I really think there's so many people out there doing these kinds of things. Use what works. So if you're reading a book or taking a course or whatever, and it just doesn't seem to be working for you, then look for something else and keep looking because there's something out there for everybody. There's so many of us who are doing these kinds of things at
So
different
many
angles,
teachers.
right?
Yeah, you have to
So
find
many
the person that
teachers.
really you resonate with. Otherwise, none of it's going to
Absolutely.
land.
Absolutely. The people who find us, they want to have something to do with their bodies. We're the Somatic Coaching Academy. It's going to be something to do with your body. They're
Mhm.
people who have been through trauma in their life, whether it's really big stuff or stuff that matters, and they haven't been able to overcome it. And they know we have a trauma sensitive container that can hold that kind of work, specifically because we have therapeutics in our background. We're able to do that. And so those are the kinds of people who end up finding us and like where they're people, whether it's because of trauma or it's because they've been athletes and they want their body to be a part of the process. But I love when clients, whether it's people who are working with us or people who aren't working with us, find their people in the coaching space and allow themselves to like live into that. There's no better joy in life than doing this kind of work and doing it with people who get you. It's the
And not having
best.
to explain.
No.
That's what is
Yeah.
so powerful about being in like a
Agree.
group coaching or a membership
Yeah.
container. You don't have to explain why you meditate. You don't have to explain what manifestation is
No.
or get those weird looks like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Like when
Mm.
it's just
You can
there's a
just
lot of
relax and be you.
yeah, there's a lot of unsaid things that you don't even have to waste your energy on.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You don't have to waste the energy. And what happens when you don't waste your energy? You have more energy, which is what we
Yeah.
all want.
And you can
We
use it towards the things that you actually
care
love
about
and
and
are
love.
passionate about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, there was one more thing that I just thought of. Okay, you talked about waiting and clients who you
Yeah.
talk to a year. Talk to us about what that waiting does for
Well,
them.
for a standpoint of the natural laws, which we talk about a lot and is in our Manifestation for Dummies book, the natural laws, we have a whole chapter laid out on them, two chapters actually. Um, there's this natural law called the law of more life, and the idea around it is that everything expands. It's kind of like that thought of what you focus on grows,
Mhm.
right? Okay, so if what we focus on grows, then I like to think of it like a one-way street. We're always walking down this one-way street of expanding something. What are we expanding? Well, we're expanding our patterns.
Mm,
So if we have dysfunctional patterns, whether we like them or not consciously, we are expanding them if we're not changing them.
one of
So
the
that's
things
what
that I
happens with
say,
these people.
yeah, one of the things that I say is we are always manifesting whether we know it or like it
Exactly.
or not.
Consciously or
So,
unconsciously.
yeah, like
Totally.
you can be intentionally manifesting or you can be manifesting Groundhog's Day every day and wondering
Over and
why
over.
you keep on this waiting loop. But you're doing it no matter what.
Exactly. So those people who are getting those results a year later, they're manifesting the patterns that are going on. So are you going to learn how to consciously manifest to your point?
Mm,
Because if you don't, you'll just keep getting what you're already getting. And that's fine if that's what you want. But if it's not what you want, then you do have a choice to do something about it.
mhm.
It's
And
going to
it does,
require
yeah.
learning, it's going to require some discomfort and all of that stuff. And also, it's going to be great.
Yeah. I mean, we say when we do the work, right? But it's
Yeah,
really not work. It's like Indiana Jones in your life. You're finding all the clues
totally.
and you're uncovering more of your inner power.
Yes, it's an adventure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And Indiana Jones isn't always like Indiana Jones stuff comes up, right? Like there's this thing, there's
There's
that
a
thing that
snake
you have to
pit.
deal with. But it's an adventure. Our lives can be like that. I remember for me, before I found coaching, life felt very monotonous. That Groundhog Day.
Yes,
I
same.
remember that feeling. I never, ever would wish to go back. And anybody who tells me they don't want to feel like that, I would so gladly help them because I remember that feeling of feeling like my life is already over somehow. I was like
Yeah,
35, A
same.
what? Yeah. I just,
Like all of the things on the list that they
Bad.
tell you that you should have to be happy. The
Right.
husband, the house, the 2.5 kids, the picket
Right.
fence, the dog,
Yeah.
and the cat. And now
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. No.
Yep.
I had that. I had the white picket fence, the whole thing.
I didn't have the fence, but I had all the things that I ever wanted. And I was like always looking around for like, oh, do I need a new job? Do I need a new
Right.
car? Do I need a better trip? Maybe I need different experiences. And I was like,
Somehow still hollow.
yep, I burned my life down and then I had to look in the mirror like, oh, it's me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shit.
Well, at least you know where to start.
Right. It's kind of a good and bad thing, right? Well, it's definitely a good thing, but at the time you're like,
Yeah.
oh
Oh,
man, it's
no.
me. I thought it was all them. Yeah. All
That's
right, dear.
awesome.
Well, this has been amazing. Please tell
Uh,
everyone where they can find you. And your book comes out July
July
7th.
7th. Yeah, yeah. You can find us at the Somatic Coaching Academy. We're at the somaticcoachingacademy.com, and all of our social media handles are Somatic Coaching Academy. The book can be found on Amazon, but if you order it through us, then you get a bunch of great bonuses. So, hey, get some great bonuses. Come over to our
Oh,
website and you can order it there.
oh yeah. I think it said like almost $400 in bonuses, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, there's some good stuff. So we want to help people supercharge their manifestations. Like I said, we wanted to make the simplest, most practical manifestation guide available. And since Dummies books are reference books, one of the cool things is you put it on your bookshelf, you pull it out when you want, you flip, you read whatever part, and it's not like you have to have read the whole thing. It's a reference guide, so you can just read whatever part you want. Yeah, you can read it, cover to cover, but grab it and have it on your bookshelf and take it when you need it. That's one of the things I really like about it. So,
Nice.
yeah, it's going to be an easy peasy guide, not just for dummies, for really smart people who want to learn how to manifest. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for being here and
Oh my gosh.
um,
Thanks so much. So
stay
much
in
fun.
touch.
Appreciate it.
Okay, my loves, thanks for hanging with me. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please share it with someone and like, subscribe, leave me a rating, all that good stuff. And I'll see you next week.